All right, so start with table work, and then there's a period of playing around with the script where you are discovering the script on its feet. You're discovering blocking options. Blocking is movement from place to place on stage. Blocking is actors moving around on the stage. Yes, it is the director's job to move them around, but they don't micromanage them. They don't tell them every little nitpicky move to make. Probably a lot of the blocking was discovered during the improvisational and playing around period. Blocking is different from stage business. The easy way to think of it as blocking is when they move their feet, when they walk around. Business is when they move their hands and do things. So, you discover the text through table work, you play around with it up on its feet, and then you solidify the physical shape of the play. Set designers have a lot to do with how blocking works because they're giving you the playground that you're going to play on. And so then once you have things set, you start doing run-throughs. One of the most important things that a director does is establish the rhythm of the play. This is the speed with which the actors say their lines. It's cue pickups. It's it's like orchestrating a symphony. Some parts are faster, some are slower, but the rhythm of the play is very, very important, and this is something that the director does have a big hand in. A lot of times when I go see a play with a friend and they say, well, what did the director do? I point out the rhythm of the play, the pace. And this is everything from the speed with which the lights come up and down to the movements in the speech of the actors. So that's something that the director is really looking for during run-throughs. Run-throughs, you can do run-throughs of the whole play, obviously, or maybe you just do sections. You probably start with smaller sections, and then, like if it's a two-act play, you'll do the first half of Act 1, then the second half of Act 1, then the first half of Act 2, second half of Act 2. You'll run it in those sections to help develop the actor's stamina. And but actors love doing run-throughs. I don't always think they're as necessary as other people think. I think when the actors are a little bit scared about what comes next, you get better performances out of them because their senses are heightened. But you gotta pander to them occasionally and give them a few run-throughs. So you do run-throughs, and then you go into technical rehearsals. That's when you implement the technical aspects. Hopefully the set is finished before technical rehearsals. It might not be painted and dressed, the way that it's going to be exactly, but you've got your pieces in place. You probably started out with rehearsal furniture pieces, and then throughout the building process you start getting your real pieces and things. But the weekend before the show opens is usually the technical weekend where you implement everything. Except for dress, except for the costumes. Technical rehearsals, there'll probably be quite a few where you are just focusing on scene changes and light changes and sounds and all that kind of stuff. And the actors are probably not wearing their costumes at that point. But then you do, after technical rehearsals, have dress rehearsal. Dress rehearsal is full everything. All costumes, everything is in place except for the audience. And you have a few of those. The more you can do, the actors tend to like it. There can be a point where the actors feel like they're ready to open, and maybe they are, but you have dress rehearsals. Previews are something that are really important in the professional theater world, in the commercial theater world. In smaller markets, like in the community theaters or in the crossover theaters, they mean nothing. A preview, if you were opening a show on Broadway, a preview would be everything is in place, including the audience. The only thing that is missing from a real preview is the reviewer. If you get a bad review in the New York Times in a show that you open on Broadway, you're going to lose your shirt. I don't care how good the play is. If you don't get a good review, you are sunk. Previews are an opportunity for the company to present the play for an audience in real previews, there will still be changes happening to the script frequently. If it's a musical, they may cut some songs, they may add some songs. They have discussions with the audience sometimes to get their feedback. Most of the time it's just, gauging how the audience is reacting to the show. A lot of shows used to be, in the old days, in the golden Broadway days, you would open your shows in Connecticut. You would have previews in New Haven, Connecticut. There's a spoof of a play called We Bombed in New Haven. And you would get the show perfect before it even came to New York and before the reviewers saw it. The Spider-Man, the Broadway show that was notorious for hurting people and being very expensive, it was in quote previews for months and months because they were still trying to get that stupid show right. These days, previews are a little bit problematic because of social media. Everybody's a critic and they're posting things all over the place. I saw this, it's great, it was bad, it sucked, it was awesome. But still, previews, technically, the professional reviewers are not there. Opening night is the first night that the reviewers are there and they write things up. In the theater community in smaller markets, they probably, it could be that the person who's going to write a review comes to previews, but reviews in smaller markets really don't mean much of anything. They're good publicity. They can make a huge difference in the number of tickets you sell, but they're not going to ruin your show if somebody in a small town paper doesn't like it. This is a little bit out of sequence, but we talked about blocking. These are the areas of the stage. As you can see, they are from the actor's perspective. So downstage right is the actor's right hand, and downstage means they're closer to the audience. In the Renaissance, when the stages were raked, the back of the stage was literally higher. If you dropped a tennis ball at the back of the stage, it would roll down to the audience. So these are the areas of the stage. You couldn't get it through this class without knowing these. So upstage is towards the back wall. Center is in the center. So it's laid out like a tic-tac-toe board. 9 areas. And they're most of them have, sometimes you would call that center block center. So when you're blocking a show, you might tell your actor, go downstage right, and then they know, I'm going to walk this way or this way. Of course, there will be furniture and things around, so you might just tell them, walk over to the couch. But, so if this is the audience, these are the 9 blocks of the stage. That's why it's called blocking, because you have these 9 blocks. Before my 15 minutes runs out, maybe I can throw in a little bit about the stage manager. Stage manager is worth his or her weight in gold. And it is an area, a job in the theater that is frequently employed, that women are in this position, which is rare. It's the theater is still very much a boys' club, unfortunately, but frequently you do see female stage managers. You need to be very organized and very good at managing people to be a stage manager. This stage management is a really good career opportunity. It's a way for people to have a career in the theater without the trials and tribulations of being an actor, where you might actually make a reliable income. But it takes a very special person. You have to be very organized, and you have to be very willing and able to herd people around. So, what does the stage manager do? The stage manager, they have basically 2 jobs. They coordinate rehearsals, and they run the performance. During a rehearsal, the stage manager will be the one to make sure all the doors are unlocked, to make sure the heat's on, to make sure that all the rehearsal furniture is in place and ready to go. Stage manager might have assistant stage managers who help them along the way. The stage manager will be the one following along in the book when they're getting off book and learning their lines, the person who is feeding them their lines when they need it, up until they can't call for line anymore. The stage manager is the director's right-hand man. Ostensibly, it doesn't always happen this way, but ostensibly the director is only dealing with artistic matters, supposedly. The stage manager is dealing with all the nuts and bolts of making sure things get done, making sure people are at rehearsal on time, making sure that the actors know when they're called to rehearsal. So they're the manager, really. I mean, that's what they do. And a good stage manager is worth their weight in gold, as I said. Then, once the show opens, the director goes away. Professionally, you're really not allowed to give actors notes unless it's, something pretty big or something really minor. But once the show opens, the director goes away. And the stage manager is responsible for maintaining the artistic vision of the director, making sure that all the technical cues happen on time, making sure that the actors maintain a consistent level of performance. The stage manager will be up in the booth, the tech booth, calling all the cues. Nothing happens on that stage without the stage manager being up in the booth on their headset, communicating to the assistant stage managers backstage, make sure this actor is in place, ready to make their entrance. They tell the lighting board operator when to bring the lights up and down. Same thing for the sound board. If it's a musical, they coordinate with the conductor. They coordinate with the front of house manager so that they know when everybody's in their seats and they can start the show. It's kind of like an air traffic controller. They're managing everything. And the importance of this job cannot be underestimated. The difference between a professional quality production and one that's really amateurish is always about directing, but just as frequently it's about the quality of the stage management. It's important stuff, and it's a good job. It's a really good way to learn your chops as a director too, to sit around and you get to watch other directors work. But if you become a good stage manager, though, you get pigeonholed and it's hard to jump over into directing in the professional world. So there you go. So that was stage management. We will continue with practitioners in the next lecture.